minutes late. Yeah, so I believe if I'm allowed, I could just start. We could have taken time to get to know who is in, but then we'll get to know one another as we move on. I believe I'll be allowed to switch off my video so that I'm a bit clearer. Is that okay?
But this is something we've talked for over years.
Sorry, I'm trying to. Is my screen visible yet? Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Is it on slide mode? Let me just. Is it on presentation mode? Could someone confirm, please, if my screen is on presentation mode? Hello, Mary, please, could you please confirm if you can see my
Yes, I
screen?
can. I think
So
it's
that
in presentation mode. I can see it clearly.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining from whichever part of Kenya or beyond that you're joining. I've said, for those who are just joined, my name is Jacqueline Dianga, and I'll be taking us through today's presentation together with Mary Akach, who will join me later on. I am a teacher at a secondary school in Rongo, that is in Migori County, and I am committed to lifelong learning. So opportunities like this excite me, and I am just happy that we can join and share, learn, and shape one another in this journey of shaping our growth professionally and personally. I am a member of LPAC and a member of Africa ELTA, and currently the chair of an interest section in the TESOL. So today's topic that I'm going to share with us is learning beyond the classroom, and by using real life contexts to teach English. I wonder if each of us has tried this strategy, or if we have used any out of classroom situation to teach English. Maybe we could share in the chat just to know if this is something that we have done or we have tried in our context. So I have chosen to use learning service, community service learning. I visited a children's home sometime last year and chose to use that opportunity to learn. And my focus was on writing tags. I went to just a nearby school, not so far from a nearby children's home, not so far from my school. It's called Neema Children's Center in Rongo. And I carried my class, a whole class of about 54 learners. And together we went to the center, which caters for children who are vulnerable, and it is a licensed care facility. It also provides holistic care and residential facilities. They send students to different schools within the county and beyond. So they don't run a school, but they are able to send these learners to different schools. Within that center, they share values with the learners, they empower them, and collaborate with willing partners to just give hope to these learners. So the real purpose that we decided to do was something that is a genuine need. There is a genuine need for these learners to get. So we did this during Mashujaa Day celebration last year. And we discussed with our learners, like, what could we do as part of our learning to ensure that we celebrate that day. So we decided that this day we would ensure that we reach out to others which just are within our neighborhood to put a smile on their faces, but at the same time, we would be learning. So our goal or our objective was to reinforce classroom learning and life skills through this community service learning, and to provide direct support, as we shall see later on, because this is a center that caters for needy children. So the direct support was in form of donations. And in doing so, we hoped to foster civic responsibility among the students, as well as promote empathy. But then, why did we decide to do this activity? Why go beyond the classroom? Because we could still teach all the values, all the goals, the academic goals that I have highlighted there, just within the classroom setting. Of a transition to CBC, which is learner-centered, and all those core values of CBE that I believe we are aware, we decided to take our learning out of the classroom, because sometimes traditional classroom may limit learners. I believe if we had time, we could share some of those routines, some of the routines that maybe we find limiting to learners. Could we just share in the chat, maybe in one word, you can just write, what are some of the learning, what are some of the things that limit learning in the classroom that may cause one to sometimes explore and go out of the classroom? If we can take a moment, we could share, just so that I'm sure I'm with all of us. I'd love to see if in the chat or somebody can unmute and just share what are some of the limitations that learners may face in an English classroom. We could take a minute or so to just share, unmute and share, or we could write in the chat any one thing that limits English learning in the classroom. And Margot, you could help me check the chat, please.
Yeah, sure. I had just written learning resources, teaching resources, and realias. Francisca Akinya has written language barrier. Kip has said poor classroom management.
Poor classroom management, learning resources. Another one you said is language barrier.
Language barrier.
Yeah, so thank you so much for those who have shared. I think language barrier, because sometimes you could find learning a bit limited in the sense that maybe, for example, if you're teaching grammar, the usual grammar drills where we give learners like blank spaces to fill in, and maybe some of them, it somehow presents language in a disconnected. In normal communication, we do not fill in blanks, but language occurs naturally. It is a tool of connection and expression, but sometimes you'll find, if, for example, I'm teaching grammar, that it could be a bit dry if I just give the usual drill, like you fill in the blank spaces or choose this alternative and all that. But if you go out there and you're interacting, the learners, as much as they need to know the essential rules of grammar, it can be a bit dry and lacks that connection of that language as a tool of connection and expression. So sometimes limited confidence also comes in because some learners may feel, those who have low self-esteem may feel limited, or they lack the confidence to express themselves in a language classroom. But when they're out there, they are able to interact, and we could, or somebody is on. It might sound a bit abstract, the concepts might be a bit abstract, but when we allow the learners sometimes to learn language in a natural context, then it provides purpose and relevance and a more natural way of acquiring language. And going beyond the classroom also gives the learners opportunity to acquire more skills that are called the 21st century skills. The skills, life skills such as collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. I believe if they don't limit themselves to the classroom, then there could be other things that they learn. Okay. I don't know why I'm unable to move to the next slide. I don't know what has happened. Okay. Okay. I can't move to the next slide. Sorry, just I don't know what has happened. I can't seem to move to the next slide. Sorry, I don't seem to be able to move to the next slide. I don't know what has happened. Okay. Are you still able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see it, but it doesn't move. It's stuck.
Yeah, I'm wondering what has happened, why it's stuck. Please allow me to stop and reshare.
Yes, definitely do that.
Okay, thank you. Still not going to the next slide. Sorry, my screen can't move to the next one. I don't know what to do next. Margot, would you help? What should I do to move to the next? I don't know why it has stopped moving because we started so well.
Perhaps you can
That's
go
not-
back to this sharing, then you scroll from where it is from the side as the slides were showing.
From this.
Like you don't put a full page, you share the way
Okay.
you had shared
Oh,
before.
the way
Yeah.
it. Okay. Let me try
Yeah.
that. Sorry. Okay. In that, like that? Would that be okay with everyone?
Yeah, this will work for us instead of losing
Will it-
yeah.
Okay, so I'll just go on without resuming to the slideshow because when I resume somehow it's stuck. It doesn't move. So I have talked about the need of going to the beyond the classroom, and I've mentioned that it helps us to just learn more skills. So I chose, there could be so many ways that we could take our learning beyond the classroom, especially learning of the English language. There are so many ways that we could do that. But for this presentation, I chose community service learning as a framework, and I believe we could also share, if we are familiar with this, if we have tried this in our stations, maybe have we tried to use this strategy, the community service learning, to take our learning beyond classroom? And if so, what was it that you did? And then this is just, oh, my internet connection is unstable. This is just a teaching and learning strategy that integrates community service with instruction and reflection to enrich the learning experience, to teach civic responsibility as well as strengthen communities. It is sort of an experiential learning. The learners move from theory to the practical bit of getting to apply the concepts that they have learned in classroom in a real life context. So I believe by doing so, then it provides an authentic context for us to learn language use. So there could be so many ways that we could do this, but I may just ask again, if you were to do this, what are some of the local issues that we could turn into a service learning project? Could we share any local issue? Because we are talking about community. So if I'm teaching in a school, I could just identify an issue within the local community and turn it into a community service learning project. So may we share any of those ideas? What are some of the issues that we could turn into service learning projects for teaching English language? I'd appreciate if we could share some, we could unmute and or just type in the chat any issue within the community that we can turn into a service learning project with English language in mind.
From where I am, cleaning the environment.
Yes, cleaning.
Yeah, and by that, in our grade 9, we have a topic which is community service, so cleaning the environment, where we can also use the language to draw petitions, create posters. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Environmental awareness, cleaning up the environment, using language to petition, and so I believe this is a way of applying relevant academic content, and through this service, if, for example, if it's cleaning up the environment, so you would teach learners about the environment, the importance of cleaning the environment, then you give them a chance to go and clean up, and then they would maybe reflect critically about that service that they are offering. So these are some of the things that I thought could be done, and many more, the ones that you have mentioned, and even these ones could be done. So I had this worksheet here that we could talk about, I think, poor sanitation, if it's environment, waste management, environmental pollution. And then, as you have mentioned, that you can ask learners to create posters, they could do reports, cleanup reports, just to create awareness about the need to keep our environment safe and clean, and many other issues. It could be an issue on lack of reading culture, so they could design storybooks or articles and conduct reading campaigns. It could be about drug abuse, any problem that is in the community that they can turn, and then they use elements of language, be it grammar, any of the skills, any of the 4 skills in writing. Someone could choose just to, if you design stories, then that would serve as now writing and reading. And of course, even listening, those skills will all be integrated. And somebody could use to teach vocabulary. If I go to clean up a hospital, I believe there's a register that is used within the hospital, and these learners will get to learn some of the vocabularies that are unique to our hospital environment. We could use it to teach maybe, storytelling and so on, and as well as writing. So for me, I focused specifically with the project that I did to do writing. I focused on functional writing because this was a Mashujaa Day celebration. So I felt of the need to expose the learners to appreciate the need of others, empathy, to teach them empathy, that they need to be responsive to the needs of others, to learn civic responsibility. But while doing all this, I had wanted also for them to review some of the functional writings that we had done. And this was done when they were in Form 2. So we began by, first of all, doing a formal letter. So I asked permission to visit this center and ask for any support in terms of the transport to the facility. So once they did that, having gone to the center and sought permission, and we were granted. So I told them we already have the permission from the center. What we need now is to get to the principal, but for the principal to give us permission, I want you, the learners, to write letters. So they did that, and there was a bit of like enthusiasm. Their interest was aroused when they got now. The motivation is they are going out of school there to participate in something, to celebrate the day. But then now everyone was excited, and sort of I got like almost 99% everyone writing. And then I presented some samples and we got the approval, we got the permission. We were told just to do a budget in order to go there. So with the permission granted, I asked them now to write that down in their diary. So this second letter here, these things that might be a bit tiny now that I'm not on the slideshow. It could be tiny, but the whatever I have here is a diary. A student wrote a diary up there. They indicated the day where they would go and what event they would be undertaking on that day. And then I also asked them, the same form here has shopping list, because we already got the approval from the school, a go ahead. So I asked them to write a shopping list, which is something that we had done. So we are just now practically applying those skills that we had learned in something that is more purpose-driven, because we are going out there, we are going to buy the real stuff. So the center gave us a donation catalog. So we had very specific things, a list of things we could choose from, because they had a catalog, a donation catalog. So I read through that donation catalog and asked them to write the items that we are going to buy, and they did a shopping list. Besides that, we still used this experience to write. I asked them, having done your shopping list, we also need to let the rest of the school know what we are doing. So I asked them to write notices, public notices, just to alert everyone around the school about the event that they were going to do. And here we could see them trying to come up, be creative, come up with some colorful. Our school is not digitally compliant. We have no computers, so they were doing it manually. They all wrote the notices, but I also now picked my laptop, because we don't have computers in our school, and I told them this notice here, the one in the middle here, I told them that there are tools that make it even easy to design such, so that in future, if somebody learns the skills, if they become digitally literate, then they could even design such notices or posters using the computer. And I just did one sample and showed them the same. This is a notice, but I used Canva to design this, just to demonstrate to them that apart from doing it manually like this, today it is possible, if they have access to technology, that they can design it using the computer. So again, the same project we also did after going to the center. I asked them now, having interacted with the learners, having shared broken bread and celebrated, I asked them now to do a reflective personal journal. And all these are things that we had done in class. We had done all these writings. So I asked them to write personal journals, to bring out what the feelings, how did they feel about the whole exercise? What is the impact? What was striking? And then they bring out the emotions concerning that day. Then I got people writing personal journals. Then another thing that I asked them to do is to write a thank you note. That one I just asked them this term when they're now in Form 3, but referring back to that exercise, I asked them, think back when we went to Neema Children's Home and participated in Madaraka Day celebration with the children. Just write a thank you note to your class teacher for organizing such an event. And all of them again did write. So through this service learning, we got out of the classroom and interacted with the learners and still managed to review our functional writings. So it was a very interesting session for us because the learners got even to tell stories with the children at the center. So I did not really focus. I have videos of them playing, but I was not able to embed them here. I think because my focus was mainly on the writing for this presentation, but any other person using such, maybe somebody could decide to focus on grammar. Somebody could focus on listening by now having this speaking and listening. You tell, they share stories and the kids listen. Then we also give the chance to the children to share their stories, which they did. So it could also be something that I could still explore, someone else can choose to do. It doesn't have to be writing. We could still learn any other skill. So if you choose to do storytelling, or then it would be enhancing oral communication and creativity, exchanging cultural exchange, because you'd find maybe there is diversity in the group. There could be children from different ethnic communities, from different cultural background. So we could have stories from different communities, and I believe that would help them develop their oral communication as well as exchange their cultural experiences. And apart from that, the exercise would help to build rapport with the community and enhance joy, even in learners getting to enjoy their learning as much more than they would maybe if they're just in the classroom, which we had earlier said would be a bit limiting. I believe for us or for anyone to implement such a community learning or service learning, it might require, there could be potential challenges, but I believe when one plans for this, then it could be a success. So some of the challenges that maybe one could face if you are considering doing such could be maybe lack of support from the administration. In my case, we were lucky enough that the school supported us. So if the school supports, then you can do such a service. Some of them, you just be creative so that it is not financially intensive. I got to even have my learners, some of them, they even donated themselves. Apart from the school donating, the children themselves donated. And for me, that was like social responsibility, that whatever little they had, they gave, and we added with what the school gave us, and we were able to. So for one to achieve this, then you need to plan your visit, do all that is required, then work together with and to organize these activities, ensure their logistics. Like I remember that day when we were going, we had issues, we didn't have a bus, but then because we are out here to do this project, we even learned that we could enhance our problem-solving skills, because they managed to call a neighboring school, which gave us a bus. And again, that was just again a neighboring school which gave us a bus and sorted our challenge with the transport. And then also we could execute activities. We did actually execute. We had sessions where children sang together, they played football, so they enhanced their social skills by interacting together. And while they were planning for this, it was a joint exercise, so the children were able to improve their collaboration skills, their communication skills, because they are planning together, they are talking as they are going. So apart from the writings that we are doing, there were other skills that we managed to enhance. As a result, then what are the benefits, or what is the impact of this such of exercise, taking the learning beyond the classroom? Among many advantages or benefits of community service learning, which I had mentioned, that it encourages civic responsibility, collaboration skills, and all those 21st century skills. Because our focus was on writing skills, I was able to notice that my learners' confidence in writing increased. They were motivated. So even those who would hide behind really tried, because you tell them, like, all of us have to write to go for this exercise. We all have to submit our work. So they increased their writing confidence. That is something I've been able to observe, that even this year, many months later, I could still make reference to that particular project, and we can still do much more. We were able to foster teamwork and empathy. I've mentioned this, I believe, and the learning becomes more engaging and joyful. And I believe there was positive joy effects we could see. The center, the children were very happy, the organizers were very happy, and everyone was happy in the end. So I believe these are some of the things that we could just do to spice our learning, to spark the interest of the learners in learning. So for us to make it work, I have said that we need to build strong partnerships with the community, with this administration, in order to get the support. But as much as we are doing this, also we need to remember to align our goals with the curriculum goals, so that it is not just a service for the sake of it, but we align whatever it is that we are doing with the curriculum goals, which I believe I have mentioned. And then we may also need to consider the safety and those logistical preparations that we need to make, asking for permissions from whichever place you are going to do. If it's environment, you are going to clean up a hospital, a market, then you liaise with the officials there to give you the permission, so that you are safe even as you carry out this and learn. And I think also you can include structured reflection and use authentic assessment tools, maybe journals, to get feedback from the learners. So I think I asked this question already. So as we wind up, maybe we could think, each of us within our various schools, what is it that we could do? I think this was already answered by some of us, that you just identify a local need and explore which angle, which skill of the language that you want to explore with the learners. It could be writing, it could be speaking, listening, or all of them combined, but maybe you have a focus so that the learners know exactly what this means. I think by doing so, then learning English becomes more powerful and more enjoyable when we engage in real life contexts. And I found community service learning very useful, as it helps to integrate skills and values. So I want to believe that from now, each of us through this presentation, maybe there is one thing that you have learned, or there is one thing that we could share, so that I could maybe enrich my service in the next, or get more ideas on what each of us can do. And what I believe is, when we share our ideas, when you collaborate, when we start small, whichever way, then we can make a difference. And learning beyond the classroom can be real. You don't need a big budget. You just have to be creative and get the support of everyone in the community and within the school community in order to achieve this. So thank you so much for listening. And if there are any questions or any additions that we could add, I would appreciate as I could use it to enrich this. Thank you very much. If you have any question, we could ask, or if we have any more insights that we could share with us, I will appreciate. Margot?
Well, I can say that's a very good presentation that you've done today. And I agree with you, improvising and looking for materials that are used nearby can enhance a teacher to be able to teach the class regardless of having challenges in teaching and learning resources. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'm done. If there are no questions or additions, I would pass the baton to my co-presenter, Mary, unless somebody has any additions to make. I could stop sharing.
I could add one more thing.
Yes.
If you don't have a budget and you're not going still, you can still prepare your class, maybe for a school trip, for example.
Yeah.
In the preparation of a school trip, then you can let them make flyers, you can make them write requests and the parents' letters to, as we are almost breaking for the summer holiday, so they're all excited where they're going. So for example, right now I'm on a project. We've done everything. We've done the brainstorming, the mind mapping and everything. And now we're doing the last part, which says write a letter to your parents to convince them your holiday day is better. So because they already know what their parents want and they know what they want, now they have to convince the parents. And then with that, we're going to revise the grammatic structures of the conditional clause 1, if clause type 1. And we're going to refresh our activity, our letter writing skills, and they can present in class. So they get to write, they get to learn grammar, and they get to present, speak, the three, which for us, we have writing, reading, speaking, and mediation. Mediation is translating because we're learning English as a second language. So for them, they have again to translate to the parents in English, in German, whatever they learned, to make the parents understand. So it's fun. And they can also do a vlog if they want. They can make a flyer. They can write a blog later. They can write a newspaper article. So English can be fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. And that's fun because if you for those who are in like if you can even do a podcast if you have the access to technology, I think, which most of us should really have. And I've had you mention like they have to convince their parents activity, so that would be even their negotiation, so that I think so that would be fun. Thank you. Right, Mary, are you ready? Can I stop sharing so that you take over?
Yeah, sure. And I can see Margot is raising her hand. Maybe before I distract.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask Dr. Edna, who has just spoken. Maybe you tell us the difference that you've seen maybe from the Kenyan teaching and the German teaching using the same scenario. Thank you.
Can I say I've not taught in Kenya?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you had.
No.
All right.
Yeah. But I can say the difference is we have resources, and we don't have to pay for anything. We can move. Like I prepare my students for the London trip, starting from grade 6, 7, 8, and in the 9th grade, we actualize the trip. We go there and
Wow.
we relive it again. So I'll say we have resources, a lot of resources here compared to back home. And also it's different. As we're learning English as a second language, for you it's the language, you know. So the methods will be a little bit different. But at the end of the day, we are all speaking English. We're learning to speak English. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
true. And the stark difference in resources, I believe, is there. Yes, but then with whatever resources that we have, my encouragement to those who teach in schools with limited resources, that you might just want to still learning in whichever way, find creative ways. We could even organize, let's say, the cleaning exercise just within the school, so that you didn't need to incur any transport costs. Just outside the classroom within the school, they could participate in cleaning up or the environment within the school. But thank you for your insights.
Yeah, and I'm also remembering maybe you can have a Padlet for teachers where you put all the ideas, and that makes work easier for all the colleagues. For us, we have Padlet that works for us, for Germany, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, and we're just a group of teachers. We met and we clicked and we founded that. So that is also one of the things. So you can see whatever the others have done, and then you can adapt it to your environment.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
With that, I mean, what the teacher today has presented and what the other teacher has done, and the other one, we have a pool. And then from the pool, you can always take and modify.
To your context.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mary, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Jacqueline, for the wonderful presentation. Actually, because of time, I'm not really going to repeat what you have said because you've covered a lot in your presentation. So I'm only going to touch on a few things that have not been touched. As much as you are talking about writing, you've also covered part of speaking, listening and speaking. So really, I don't see anything new that we are going to present, but rather I can build on whatever you have presented already. For those who don't know me, I am Mary Akach, just as the name suggests. I am a Teach for Kenya Fellow at Athi River Primary and Junior School, that is in Machakos, Kenya. And apart from that, I'm a community development specialist. Yes, who is in the education system and an English teacher to be specific. Thank you, LPAC, for the opportunity to share, to connect, share, and learn from my colleagues across the country. And I can even hear we have other colleagues from outside Kenya. So what a privilege. Thanks again. So into what I want to present really, allow me to get back to my presentation, if you don't mind.
Mary, Are you sharing your screen?
Maybe as we wait for her, Rukia or Jane Maru, I can see they've joined, they can say something. Rukia? Okay. Jane Maru, please. Rukia and Jane are our leaders. So Jane.
Rukia says she's unable to speak.
Hi, Margot. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Jacqueline, for that presentation. I came in a bit late, but I'm happy to get the feedback that it was a good presentation. We'll definitely go back to the recording. I am. Oh, Rukia says she's unable to speak. Okay. So just as we wait for Mary, we are just appreciating everyone who was able to join despite the technical hitch that was there. And in case anyone has a question, please feel free to ask. Thank you, Margot.
Welcome. We could also appreciate the presence of TELTA members. I can see they're here. Maybe one of the representatives can say something as we still wait for Mary. Onesmo?
Yes, thank you, Margot, for inviting me, and thank you for the great presentation. It's really, really, really amazing. I'm just here learning a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Onesmo. Mary, are you able, or you share it with Jacqueline Diaga so that she can share from her end, please?
Sure.
Okay, let me share with her. I'm trying to it from the documents. I can't find it, but it's there. So then she can present for me.
That's okay. We also appreciate Yalpa. I can see yourself. You said the voice is breaking up. Thank you, Ethiopia, for joining as well. Then we have Catherine from TELTA. It's true the service learning is applicable in our real life context. Then Mahona joined late. Could you briefly tell me what was her presentation? Mahona, we're going to share the recording as well for those who joined late and who missed.
Thank you, Margot.
Welcome, Mahona. So Jacqueline, are you able to share?
Okay. I've just sent it to her. So maybe as we wait for her, if she can share, I just want to get us into what the presentation was all about. It was more of public speaking, that is listening and speaking, and how we can take learning English or teaching English beyond the classroom. And for me, apart from Jacqueline talked on community service as one of the strategies for learning. So my presentation was about the general strategies, the general practical strategies that we can use as English teachers to integrate a real life context in an English lesson, whether you are in the classroom or not. And one of them was project-based learning. So just like Jacqueline went with her students out and they talked about several issues, writing the letters, requesting the administration to allow them go out. You could also expose these learners to community activities like volunteering to clean up the markets and also cleaning up the school environment. Then later, as part of learning public speaking skills, you can engage them in reporting their experiences that they had during the service, or they can also interview each other on how the experience was. So basically, thank you, Diana. I can see your screen. As I said, I'm not going to repeat everything that is here that has been shared by my co-facilitator, Jacqueline, because that will be really not so good. But my objectives for the session was intended to be very interactive, and by the end of the session, my hope was that everybody will be able to identify at least 3 real-life contexts that can be used to teach English. And you can remember that we have done that during the presentation that was being made by Diana, and some of them you talked about environmental activities, cultural days, and also talking about activities or practices like gender equality. Those are real life contexts that you can integrate while teaching English. Things to do with leadership, climate action, disaster management, all those issues, we can integrate them as we teach English in our daily lives. Maybe if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay, now the key inquiry question was, why is it important for us as English educators to integrate real life context in teaching English? And I think we as a team, we've really explored the benefits and the reasons as to why we should integrate real life context in teaching English and also learning English. I do say that most of the times when we start viewing our learners as leaders and we as learners and also the community as power, in Teach for All calls it teaching as leadership, as collective leadership, where we start viewing our work as systematic. You depend on the community, you depend on the institution, and you also depend on other colleagues to make sure that learning is effective and successful. So as well, it can apply in English, whereby we just make sure that we bring on board all the stakeholders and also the learners. We connect them to the community. So one of the strategies that we can use is the use of the use of authentic materials like news articles. We can expose our learners to news articles like magazines, and also podcasts, songs, menus, brochures, then social media posts. This is just to make sure that they are informed. They have the information about whatever is going on in their community, and they can express themselves in English in real life, not just confined in a classroom. And then another thing is project-based learning, which was elaborated so well by my co-facilitator, Jacqueline, so I'm not going to go back to that. We can go to the next, please. Okay, together with the students, we can explore global issues, like engage students in discussion about real life topics like climate change, technology. Let the students discuss, express themselves. Maybe we can have an open discussion, oral presentation about technology, what they think there are advantages of technology are, the disadvantages, and when we expose them to that, they will be able to learn more vocabularies from each other, and also foster their fluency in speaking English. Then we can also talk about mitigation measures, and when it comes to disaster management, they can also watch and reflect on TED Talks and or documentaries. For example, one of the TED Talks that I like is by Chimamanda Adichie, who talks more about gender equality. So many times, if I want to integrate a digital literacy, I just go with my laptop to class, then they can listen to the TED Talks. Then after that, they can also come up with their own topic that they have identified, like poverty or any other issue that is affecting the community, and have an open talk about it. Yeah, so when we integrate these issues, students come to appreciate the language, the use of language in meaningful and relevant content. It ensures that learners become informed citizens, and they can directly contribute to problem solving, not just part of the problem creators, as I say. The next one, please. Okay, I kept it as short as possible because we agreed that mine will just be receiving questions and also opening the discussion for you. So it is important that English teachers use real life context in making learning more meaningful, engaging, and applicable beyond the classroom. I've not really gone deep into this presentation because I really feel that Diana, or Jacqueline, not Dianga, Jacqueline Dianga did more justice to it. So maybe next time when I come first, I can do more justice. And also because of time, allow me to stop there unless there is, and give room for any question and answer. And also, before we can call it a night. Thank you so much once again for listening.
Thank you, Mary, for taking the shortest time and highlighting just what was not covered in the first part. I appreciate your precision, and I believe you have done justice to the part. We welcome any questions, any additions, any insights that we may offer to this topic so that we can enrich it. I saw someone ask if we could do grammar, and I believe, yes, in my presentation, I majorly focused on writing, but you know, these skills are interdependent. when you teach writing, there is speaking, there is all this, there is listening to instructions and all. But then if you choose to do, you could just specifically pick a grammar topic and focus on it through a service learning project. And maybe we can open room for people to give suggestions. What grammar topics could we possibly use this service to teach out of the classroom? The floor is open for members. You can unmute and share, or you could type in the chat, and Margot would help us check what's in the chat, please.
Yeah, sure. Mahona is asking, can service learning be part of this topic you presented?
Can service learning be part of
this topic you presented?
I actually did service learning, right? Community service learning, yes, so it can be. That's what I based. And Mahona, maybe you joined late. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. We could take our learning beyond the classroom using various methods, and I chose to use community service learning. We visited a children's home, and while doing that, as you'd later maybe see in details through the recorded presentation, I particularly focus on reviewing writing skills that I had done with the learners. But in doing so, we still learned a lot other skills like speaking, and even the other social, the 21st century skills, collaboration, problem solving, and so much. So yes, we can use service learning to teach English out of the classroom.
Okay, then we have Leonard. Maybe you could elaborate what you mean by active and passive voice, kindly.
Active and passive voice in what context? In the presentation or just generally, grammar?
He's not elaborated. That's why I'm asking. He elaborates what he means by active and
passive.
passive.
Yeah, so that maybe you could put it in context so that we understand.
Hello?
Yes, continue,
Hello?
Leonard.
Are you
yes, we
getting
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah, you asked whether we could incorporate some grammar topics in the community-based learning, and I strongly feel we could use passive and active voice in context, in the sense that we could take our students maybe in places where there are people, like market, or where people are debating, and then we extract such conversations and then come up with the active and passive sentences out of such scenarios.
I get you. Yeah, sure, that's possible, quite possible, using real life excerpts, the conversation, the discourse from the activities, like, so you're like suggesting this grammar topic that we could use. I could perfectly, for example, if I'm doing this service, I could report to the learners, maybe even at that level before they go out there, because we are starting, I could just tell them after they have written their letters to the principal and the permission has been granted, I can come and tell them the principal has permitted us to visit Neema Children's Center. And then we ask, can that be rewritten in passive voice? We could just come and say, we have been permitted to visit Neema Children's Center, and pick up a lot of other conversations as we plan, as we brainstorm. We could just pick in their small groups or as a whole group as they share if we want to teach, if my focus is on grammar, then I could just, and particularly if I'm teaching a topic in grammar like passive voice, I'll listen to what they're discussing during their brainstorming or during their presentation, during their suggestions, and then we could pick those sentences and tweak them to whatever we want. If we want them in passive voice, if we want them in active voice. So I believe it is possible, and thank you for that insight. It is something that actually it could be, we can explore. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Then we have Violet says use of research projects in community. Then Scholastica is asking, what specific writing skills did you focus on?
The specific writing skills?
Yes, that you focused on.
I did quite a lot of the functional writing skills, from formal letters to notices to diaries to shopping lists. As I shared in one of the slides, it was all there, quite a number of them. So each of them has a particular format. So as they were writing, what actually marked the work, and you're checking if they're writing a formal letter, have they used the right format? Have they used the right tone? Have they used the right content based on what we are doing, so that it is focused? It is requesting permission and asking for financial support. So is the content appropriate to what we are doing? If it is a notice, have they indicated all the parts of the notice, and such kind of things? So we did quite a number, from notices, diaries, personal journal, thank you note, as well as what else? There were quite a number of writings, yeah? I don't know if that is what she meant.
Yeah, that's what Scholastica. I hope you've been answered, and I'm sure you'll see more from the recording. Then we have Prudence from Rwanda. Thank you, Miss Mary Akach, for your presentation. And she's also a teacher of English in secondary school. Her question is, how can you integrate real life in teaching when teaching need to, in S2 in Rwandan curriculum, where it is on the chapter of gender? Thank you for considering the question and answering. So Mary, I don't know. Yeah, Mary, you're here. That's for you, please.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Prudence. And personally, how I do it, or how we can do it, is that you can still integrate real life context, like recruitment process, and also dealing with gender. Because you've talked about gender, you can actually involve both boys and girls in role playing about job interviews, for example. Then you also engage both boys and girls in telling you the kind of jobs they think both boys are supposed to do, and also girls are supposed to do. From there, you can start the discussion about the negative gender stereotypes, while you are engaging both boys and girls. And as well, you can let them understand that the reason as to why you give equal chances to both boys and girls is because both boys and girls are supposed to be given equal chances. Like, you are dealing with gender equality. You are trying to promote gender equality both in the classroom and outside the classroom. So I don't know whether that can answer your questions. For example, when you are role playing about the kind of jobs or the careers that one can engage in, or one can find themselves after completing school, and then maybe boys will say driving, most of them will talk about engineering, and then the girls will tend to have opinions around nursing, teaching. So you can use that opportunity to correct them and also deliver your message about gender.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mary.
Yes, can you
then,
let her confirm if that answers her question?
Yeah, Prudence, hope you've been answered. Then we have Mary, who has said she strongly agrees that learners tend to easily blend with authentic resources since they engage with them day to day. Yeah, Prudence has said you've answered her correctly. Then at this time, I think there are no more questions, but I can take this chance to welcome Diop, who is a community moderator with the British Council, maybe to give us a review as we wind up. Welcome, Diop. Diop, are you there?
Hi,
okay.
everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good
Hello.
evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Good
can. Go
evening.
on, please.
Okay, I'm Mr. Job. I'm a teacher of English I'm from Senegal. So I'm very pleased to be among you guys. I'm listening your topics and you are doing it very well. It's important to notice that. So I'm here to share and to be involved in what you are doing, guys. I very appreciate it. I'm very pleased to be with you guys. It just to say you hi and good afternoon to everyone. I'm listening to you, and I'm here if you are in. So thank you for giving me the floor, and I'm very happy to be with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining. And now I take back to our leader who is able to talk. You can close the session. Jane Maru, please. Thank you. Those asking about those asking about the certificate, we don't have a certificate of participation, and also the presentation and the recording will be shared after. Thank you. Jane, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you also, Margot. We appreciate everyone for being part of this meeting tonight. Mine is just to encourage anyone who is not a member of LPAC to reach out to us. Let me write our email here. To be a fully registered member. It comes with very many opportunities such as presenting in such sessions, among many more. Otherwise, for me, is a good night and God bless. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Pass our gratitude to the leaders for giving us the opportunity. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for your feedback. We welcome them. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night,
night,
everyone.
Kenya. Good night, everyone.